Elliott, it's a defeat away to Leamington today. Could you give us your verdict on the game?
Disappointing. Pitch isn't a great pitch. Balls in scrappy game. Balls in the air a lot. It's doesn't suit our style of play. Fair play to them. They handled it better than what we did, especially the first half. But yeah, scrappy game. First goal, it's our throw in. It goes out, off their player, and he gives a throw in to them. They score from the long throw, free header in the box, which we've got to be better at. So that's our responsibility. But the first bit, where the goals come from, he's got to make sure that he, it's our throw in ultimately, and he's got to make sure he's making the right decisions. So that's disappointing. Yet again, I thought he made some really poor decisions throughout the game. But listen, it's not an easy job being a referee. But like I say, I wasn't convinced that he was great today. But back to the game, scrappy and not a great deal of quality. Obviously we hit the post, good save from their keeper just before half time from Blackie, and I think if we score that, then the second half might have been a little bit different. So just really disappointed that we've lost the game. When you come to places like this, when the pitch is like this, it's not about how you play football, it's how you can stand up to long balls and long throws and direct play. And the players all know this beforehand. We do our homework and we know what they're going to do, and we know the pitch isn't great. So we explain all this to the players, and ultimately we can't deal with that type of game. So we've got to find a way to do it, and like I say, we struggled with it, but just disappointed to lose the game. Second half was a little bit better, but that's not good enough for this football club. It needs to be a lot better. First and foremost, basics of football. Win your battles, win your duels. You're in 1v1s against players all over the pitch. Make sure you're better than them. And there was too many occasions we didn't do that.
And you've touched on it yourself, but like you see, that first goal come from a throw-in that the lads didn't think should have been a throw-in. How did you see it from where you were?
100%, it's our throw-in. The players took it off the pitch, so it's our throw-in. It's as simple as that. It's not even, a touch and go one. It's clear and obvious that it's our throw-in. And he's guessed. There's one earlier where I think he gave a corner and it wasn't a corner, and again he's guessed, in terms of whether it was a corner or not. So, early part of the game, decisions were poor. Well, not just the early part of the game. I thought he made a lot of poor decisions. Obviously, when they're 2-0 up as well, their goalkeeper's taking his time, which he's entitled to. I'm not. That's the way they want to do it, and I'm not being critical of them. That's fine. But I think the referee's got to be braver and stronger, and he's got to. It's a real frustration of mine. I know at times it happens in games, but it feels like they're not going to play into our hands. They're not going to keep the game going. The opposition I'm talking about here, when it's their dead ball situations, but the referee can control it better, and I just thought he didn't do that well enough today.
And the surface definitely played its part today. Jenks was unfortunate in the second half after the ball bobbled over his strike. Do you think that had an impact today?
Well, like I say, Blackie's had an effort which the keeper stepped onto the post. If we score that, and then obviously Jenks' chance there, if we score that, then you're back in the game, 2s each. We huffed and puffed a little bit second half without really creating anything. Difficult place to come, difficult pitch. The pitch isn't great, but it is what it is. And it's the same for both teams. And they've got a way of playing which, again, I'm not being critical of. It's quite common within the division. We've got to find a way to be able to handle that. And if it's not for this season, we'll be certainly looking at things for next season to make sure that defensively we're a lot more compact and harder to play against.
And Louis Burns featuring in the matchday squad today, as well as 5 other academy graduates. Is that a big step in terms of bringing players through and showing that there's a pathway there into the first team?
Definitely. I think we've got an amazing academy. I think, don't get us wrong, there's areas that we can improve upon it. And the club know how we feel about things that we need to be better at. But ultimately, I think it's fantastic. We've got academy players within the group. Ewan McGowan comes on. I thought Ewan was terrific. I thought he was really terrific when he came on. Had a really good shot which the keeper tipped over the bar. So we have created the odd chances. We've had shots on target. The keeper's made 2 saves. Jenks has bobbled. But for the academy lads, delighted for them all. Louis obviously comes on, so that's his debut for the first team. It's another one for the club to be really proud of, and hopefully there's more to come.